If you are running a business, whether it's small, medium, or large, you need to consider the service profit chain. And we can liken this to riding your bicycle. If you stop pedaling, you won't grow, you won't go the distance, and you will fail. So in this video, we will look at the service profit chain and the factors that you need to consider for revenue growth and profitability. The first one we need to discuss is the internal service quality. The premise of internal marketing is that services are largely performed by human beings during the interaction with customers, and the nature and quality of services will primarily depend on the attitude and actions of the service employees or service providers. The focus then of internal marketing is on good internal relationships between staff or employees at all levels of the organization in order to create a service-oriented culture among frontline employees, support staff, team leaders, supervisors, and managers. To establish profitability, the service organization must create an appropriate organizational climate and culture to attract the right type of staff who will perform services in the appropriate manner. The organization, what it stands for, must be marketed to the internal customers or the employees of the organization. It is only when these employees' needs are satisfied can they provide services that will satisfy the needs of the external customers. If the needs of both the internal and external customers, so the employees and the customers, are satisfied, then your foundation is laid for mutually beneficial long-term relationships with customers. But how do you achieve this, and what do you need to consider? You need to consider the workplace design, the job design, and ensure that you have the appropriate employees selected for the specific job, and you need to make sure you continue to develop them for that specific job. You need to focus on employee rewards and recognition. An employee who is rewarded and recognized for esteemed performances will be driven to work a lot harder to satisfy the customers for the organization. You also need to consider several tools for serving the customer, empowering your employees and empowering the customer. If we move down the drivetrain, the first thing you need to focus on, if your internal climate is correct, is satisfying your employees. Your operating strategy and service delivery system is vital to contribute to your employee satisfaction. The internal culture of the organization must be market-driven and customer-focused. You need to focus on information systems and information technology, which should lead to employee satisfaction and also loyalty towards the organization. If your employees struggle to provide a service because the infrastructure and the information technology is constantly failing, then it will be difficult for your employees to be satisfied and provide a sufficient service. It is very important to also know that how you treat your employees as the employer will affect the quality of services that they deliver to your external customers. If you don't treat them appropriately, you can expect the same service. Treat them appropriately, expect happy customers. Moving down the chain, if you have satisfied employees, you are more likely to retain them and they are more likely to be loyal to your organization. So you need to consider well-trained, well-paid staff working in a well-designed workplace and with an appropriate job design will lead to satisfied employees. And in turn, this should lead to high levels of internal service quality and eventually to high levels of external customer satisfaction. You should know that if your employees are satisfied, they are more loyal, they stay longer with your organization, and this drives down your cost in terms of recruiting and training new employees on a regular basis. Now, if your employees are satisfied and loyal, they will have increased productivity. Satisfied employees stay longer, as we mentioned, and their individual productivity will improve as opposed to an employee who is not satisfied. It is also not difficult to believe that experienced and skilled employees are more productive than those who are newly recruited and poorly trained. If you consider the same job function, the employee who is not trained will not perform as well as an experienced employee. With the internal elements covered, this all should drive external service value or the creation of service value to your external customers. The quality of a service is whatever your customer perceives it to be, rather than some objective standard that can determine its quality. And we look at two dimensions, how consumers or your customers believe your service is of high or low quality. This is distinguishing between the technical dimension or the outcome, for example, what do they get when they pay for your service, and the functional dimension or the process following what they paid for in terms of your service offering. So how was your service delivered? In the service profit chain, as employee productivity increases and they accept the service culture that you establish, and this culture is reflected in their conduct with customers, then there will definitely be an enhanced external service value. Moving this chain along, once the external value is created, it should lead to customer satisfaction. Now, in the services environment, the customer's relationship should be with the entire organization or brand and not tied or related to a single employee in the organization or business. Customer satisfaction can be viewed as an outcome of a consumption activity or experience, for example, attending a mountain bike race. It can also represent a process, what was received and what was expected. If you sign up for a race and you pay a lot of money, you expect the event organizers to have everything under control, to keep you updated and explain to you exactly what you should expect from this event. Then, if everything happened as expected, then the customer will be satisfied. If there was an issue in any one of the elements of the event, it might lead to dissatisfaction in the customer. Now, if the customer is satisfied, they may become loyal customers, and this is what we aim to achieve. But how do we do this? How do we create satisfied customers? Well, you need to communicate with your customers on a regular basis. Also, when you have a brand new customer inquiring about your service, be sure to respond as soon as possible. Modern consumers are incredibly impatient and they move to competitors by the snap of a finger. You also need to manage the overall experience. You have to make sure that each step in the service that you deliver is delivered top-notch and to the highest of standards. You need to handle difficult situations with empathy and in a dignified manner. Just make sure you treat your customers with respect. Yes, customers might believe they are always right, but it is not always the case, and you need to be able to explain it to them calmly and with respect. You need to make sure you cultivate a service culture with your employees and task teams and make sure they don't deviate from this service culture. You need to learn how to implement and control service processes. Employees at every level need to make sure how the simplest to the most complex services are arranged, delivered, and ensure after-sales support. Now, with customers satisfied, we aim to make them loyal long-term customers. But how do we achieve this and what do we have to consider? Loyal customers are extremely valuable to your business because this can lead to sustainable profit potential. And there are various reasons why customer retention can increase profits. The total acquisition cost of new customers decline because you have a loyal customer base. It is a lot cheaper to service existing customers than it is to recruit new ones. Satisfied repeat customers, so your loyal customers, tend to spend more, are less price sensitive, and tend to refer new customers, so word of mouth is free. Successful customer retention strategies also reduces the number of relationships a customer will form with your competitors, especially if they are in close vicinity. Now, yes, sadly, not all long-lasting relationships are profitable in the long term. So you have to segment based on your profitability analysis for customer retention. You need to do this by looking at the spending patterns amongst your long-term customers. And if you see they are starting to defect, find a way to get them back to your business. Find out why they defected. Find out how you can provide a better service so that they remain loyal. And this links to the next point, retention programs and defection rates. So again, see why they move away from your specific business and find a retention program to keep them coming back. A takeaway for loyal customers that, again, it is valuable to your business and a sustainable profit potential is imminent. and this point is emphasized twice because sustainability for your business is incredibly important for survival. Now, once you considered all of the factors and ultimately loyal customers, you should have a growth in your revenue and increased profitability. The question you have to reflect on is, do you have all of these factors covered? This was only an overview of the services profit chain. Don't stop peddling. Replace your components and look ahead. If you want a more detailed view and perception of the service profit chain with existing companies as an example, find the link in the description below for an article. Thanks for watching.